We spotted a moose in the woods, a 400 horsepower radial engine Murphy Moose aircraft during the RAF or Recreational Aviation Foundation flyout event. Can you build one of these aircraft? Let's find out. Alright, so the adventure for today is going to the RAF flyout, which is at the Blackwater River Forest here, and there's actually a runway, a very large runway in the middle of the woods here. It's kind of rainy today, so I don't know how many people are going to fly in, but let's go check out the park. Blackwater River State Forest is the largest expanse of longleaf pine forest, sandhills, and seepage slopes in the state, with just under 210,000 acres of forest. The Cruel Recreation Area is home to the Florida Forest Service Airfield, identifier 8 Foxtrot Delta 3 Blackwater Airfield, which is 4,000 feet by 100 feet, runways 1836, with runway 36 having a displaced threshold of 1,500 feet. Alright, so out here at Blackwater, my first ever RAF Recreational Aviation Foundation event. Nice 2-hour drive this morning. But we're here with a rep here for Florida, one of the two reps here in Florida, correct?
Correct, 2 of the ambassadors for the Panhandle of Florida.
So introduce yourself and what you do for the RAF.
Yeah, so I'm Shane Hartman. I'm one of the ambassadors for RAF here in Northwest Florida. And really my purview is primarily focused on Blackwater Airfield, 8 Foxtrot Delta 3.
Awesome. So how many events throughout the year do you hold here, or is it just like an annual thing that happens at Blackwater?
Yeah, typically we try to do at least one event in the fall, winter time as weather cools off and we can get some aircraft out. Weather has been a factor over the past few years, but usually we get the hardcore guys that come into here. And then we'll also try to do something in the springtime if weather plays nice with us. But if it allows, then we'll try to camp out here a few other times throughout the December, January time frame.
Now tell everybody, what is the Blackwater Strip here? Like, what's the length and like approach and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so Blackwater is a state forest of Florida, and they've been nice enough to allow us through the RAF to essentially maintain the strip, fly in. A permit is still required, but the strip itself is, I believe, around 2,500 foot grass, usually well kept. If you call in to get a permit and it is not mowed, sometimes they will do that for you before you come in. Total length here is approximately 1 mile, and it's got a pretty wide runway surface on it, but it is very unique in the fact that there's 50, 75 foot pine trees on either side and on the north and south end. So it is a 1836 north-south strip. Okay, so it is overall 1 mile, but the usable is only 2,500. Approximately.
Okay, yeah, because I saw the area, I was like, this thing is really long, like it's 2,500 feet. I'm like, what's the disconnect here? So is that just to allow for extra safety? This is a state park or state runway, or?
I believe so. This was cut out many years ago,
okay,
and the state was using it for their firefighting operations.
Gotcha.
And again, we've been able to kind of work that deal where we've been able to use it for private events.
You can always find experimental, right? And here we are out in the middle of the woods, and sure enough, we've got is it moose?
Murphy Moose. So this moose was finished in 2019. It started out as a quick build kit, serial number 237, out of the Philippines. We purchased it from a gentleman who originally purchased the moose as a project, and unfortunately didn't get very far on it. So we were able to transport down here from Illinois and complete the project in about 4.5 months time. We were able to make Oshkosh 2019 that year, which was our ultimate goal. So it's got the M14P on it with some extra engine work done on it. It was completed in Kingman, Arizona by M14P Incorporated. And then of course we have the Whirlwind propeller blades on there, which go right into the original Russian hub.
Now we just talked off camera for a second. I had no idea that Whirlwind made such a big propeller. But you're saying, tell me what you were telling me off camera about the Whirlwind product.
Yeah, so this one comes out of California, and to my understanding, it's the original Whirlwind that still makes this prop. And then out of another place in the U.S. where most of your Whirlwind props are made that you're very familiar with on your Lycomings and such. So I believe it's a 98.5-inch propeller, and it has much better performance profile with that scimitar over the paddle blades that came stock on the Russian.
Awesome. So this is a 400 plus horsepower?
Yeah, so the original pistons in there were these 5-ring tractor pistons. This one has some updated pistons in there. Some of the micro polishing and stuff done that's now offered on there for the supercharger and the gears, and then I have the automotive plugs. But outside of that, for the most part, the rest of the engine is stock. The hardest part of the whole process really was converting it from the Russian over to standard fittings, and then figuring out where everything goes in there. The documentation's a little bit lacking, but with it being a dry sump engine, trying to figure out where you want to put, you know, a few gallons of oil and where you want to put your air tanks and everything in there was probably the most challenging part of building the aircraft itself.
So what is one of the biggest factors in making you decide to go with having a Moose built, or building a Moose?
Yeah, so we had the Murphy Rebel prior to this. We flew that thing all over the place. We'd always take it camping. Eventually we got to a point where we wanted something just a little bit bigger, and saw the Moose pop up. We love the Murphy, we love the design and just the flight characteristics of it. And once we saw this, we flew our RV up there, looked at it, and knew we just had to have it, so purchased it and then brought it down and started building on it.
So how much can you carry in this thing? And I see a huge barn door basically as a baggage door.
Yep, so empty weight is 1,936 pounds and the gross is set at 4,000 pounds. So about a 2,000 pound useful, but full fuel you're looking at about 1,500 pounds still of cargo.
All right, so what have you seen for performance with not only this engine, but just in general of the Moose?
Yeah, so takeoff fuel is about 42 gallons an hour at 2,950 RPM. Quickly throttle that back. I typically cruise at 1,860 RPM. And that's at 13.3 gallons an hour, and that's giving me 120 knots true. Yeah, so full Garmin panel, 650xi, the full autopilot, and then the common transponder for second are back behind the panel. So everything's remote. We just want a very clean panel, and then all of our switches are up overhead with most of the circuit breakers, and then we have the other circuit breakers over here on the co-pilot side. One of the unique features that we wanted to incorporate with the thought of flying back into the backcountry bush, we wanted the most reliability. So there were several things that we changed on there from what you would see from the stock Russian setup. One of those being our starting system basically used a 5-pin relay and a 12-volt coil in order to give us that initial spark for starting, since the Russian magnetos are a little bit different than your standard American style. Additionally, for the air start system, they use a electronic solenoid, which are prone to failures, and that's one of the last things we wanted to be dealing with trying to get the engine started. With it being pneumatic start, what I did was put in some manual valves into the floor, where we're then able to control everything in the airfill just by manipulating these valves, and that way we don't have to worry about that.
We are partnering with great companies like Dynon Avionics at Dynon.com, Airtech Coatings at AirTechCoatings.com, South Mississippi Light Aircraft at FlySMLA.com, Edge Performance at EdgePerformance.no. Take a moment to go visit their websites at the links found below in the description of this video. And visit our website at ExperimentalAircraftChannel.com for events, our video library arranged in easy-to-find playlists on specific topics, and so much more. All right, so one of the reasons why I want to come out here and not only experience this for myself and see Blackwater, because I've driven past it. You can't see it from the road, but I knew it was there type thing. But I also wanted to share with everybody what the RAF is about. If you could just really kind of a short summary of what why the RAF exists.
Sure. So the RAF is really about keeping accessible those strips that exist that provide really a service to the aviation flying community. And through our sponsorship through the RAF and what we do through our ambassador roles, you know, we're helping to maintain these strips and keep these open for future generations. There's really no one else out there that's really focused on this aspect of it, of keeping these things open and maintaining these strips. So that's really our primary job in all of this is to keep these for the future generations and be good stewards of the land and resources available.
So I've checked in on your website a little bit, and I see you guys kind of have scheduled work days or whatnot where you'll fly out to a specific airport and do some light maintenance to keep it under control, I guess, because it is kind of in the wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
So again, that's why we're out here today, is just to maintain these. So taking care of some of the runway taking care of the tires, making sure those are painted, and just making sure it's usable, and then policing the area for any trash and anything else that we can do out here to ease that burden on the state.
All right, so enter in another face for RAF. Bobby, introduce yourself real quick.
Bobby Capozzi, State Liaison for Florida.
All right, so if somebody wanted to join up with RAF to make sure that these awesome, great grass strips stay open and maintained, how do you grow your community here?
Very easy. Just go to theraf.org, sign up. Costs nothing. We're running around 11,000 members now.
11,000?
About 1,000 in the state of Florida alone.
Wow, wow.
And we'd love to have anybody.
Okay, you sign up and then this exists just through donations or through state subsidies, or how do you get your money to coordinate?
It is 100% donation.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're all volunteers. We do have 2 paid employees. They're administration, but everything else stays in the organization and in the airfields that need the money. We have a great grant program, and we'll take any piece of labor we can get.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the update on what's going on here at Blackwater and how RAF operates. If you'd like to join up with the RAF to help preserve these rural runways, head over to their website to learn more at theraf.org, where you can search by state to find an ambassador or liaison near you. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss a single episode.